everyone, welcome back to my Read With Me's. We are starting part 2 of Thrive. This is 6 months into their 2 years together, and I believe part 2 is it's the reality show, and it's what we got to see as far as Connor and Rose's perspective in Kiss the Sky. So now we're about to see Lily and Lo's perspective of the whole reality show, their thoughts, what they did, and everything like that. So here we go. I'm going to love Lily how I want to love her, overwhelmingly, uncompromisingly. I love that, and it shows so much of how badly they're trying, and Lily has shown so much promise and so much control, and they're able to still, you know, love each other and touch each other and do things to each other that they used to, and try and have that blacklist no longer in existence because they're doing better. And I really hope that that continues, but we all know that there is going to be some kind of conflict, and they're both most likely going to backtrack in their addictions. So I wonder if the blacklist is going to come back into play, or if there's going to be some other kind of boundaries set. Taking me back to the 6 months before their wedding, the wedding that was being held for their image. Although they love each other so much, but they want to get married on their own terms and on their own timeline, and not have to be forced to do it for an image sake. And it's taking me back because although I've read 2 other books that has completely passed the wedding, and we are 2 years, or a year and a half, a year and 6 months in the future from where I'm reading at right now, it's still, it just sucks you back in like you were right there again, and able to finally see their perspective on it and know what they're feeling about the wedding, and not just what Rose was stating or thinking that she could tell from the looks on their faces, but you can actually know what's in their brain and how they actually feel about having to be forced to get married. So I like this. I really like this. My immediate thought isn't, damn, we can't fuck in the shower. It's my third or fourth thought, which I think is progress. My first thought is how embarrassing it'll be if Reich or Connor walks in on me showering. Oh no, what if the cameraman sees me naked? What if he catches it on film? So I agree, that's progress. The fact that she's not thinking about having sex with Lo in the shower, it's, oh my god, what if someone sees me naked? Because they're filming, they just started filming the reality show, and they had to move into a new place, and they all have to share one bathroom. And she's terrified to shower in there. They say that in Kiss the Sky. But now you get to hear Lily's inner thoughts about it. And also, you get to see what Lily thinks about Reich and Daisy. My lips part at a sudden realization. Reich may be actually falling for my sister, a girl who turns 17 next month. It's a feeling, but one I sense deep in my bones, but like I did Connor and Rose. I can't tell Lo about my suspicions. Nothing good will come of that. So she's known. She knew for a year and a half before they actually got together that it was most likely a possibility that they were going to end up together. The intuition for that's a skill. The way that Lo has so much faith in their relationship, it makes my heart expand. We're going to have our happy ending. It just may take us a while to get there. And that line right there is telling everyone, all the readers, that we're going to get there. To get their happy ending. And this is so weird because Lo and Connor are having a conversation that they had Kiss the Sky, like the same conversation. But the difference is you now get to know what Lo is thinking in this moment, and you had no idea, like we had no idea in Kiss the Sky that Lily and Lo were not following the blacklist anymore, and he's having to lie to everyone about it, but they're trying to keep their sex life more private, but everyone keeps prying into it. I don't ever want that kind of selfish to have a kid knowing he or she would be plagued with the lifelong struggle. It's reiterated again where he doesn't want to have children because of his alcoholism, because it is hereditary. No, Lily, come on. You don't need to don't do this to yourself, girl. This is so bad. It's so bad for your health, for your addiction, and my daughter's awake. It's so bad mentally. It's, honey bun, it's a very bad decision to set alerts for that. I reread it a couple times, checking the grammar. It sounds more professional than I thought it would. Then I hit send. As my fingers touches the bottom of the email, dashes into off into cyberspace. My anxiety rockets up about 10 levels. And it definitely should, because girl, yes, I'm angry about that, and I want to do something about it too, and probably would have done the same thing. But you know that they can distort that, and she can release that email and black things off, or she can delete stuff and make it look like you are saying that everything is true, even though you just denied them. Just like this reality TV show can be edited anyway, that email can be edited anyway as well, and can be released to the public. I don't think that was the smartest thing to do, Lil. Oh, Lily, my heart breaks for you, girl. Mistakes every day, some small and some big, but I just wonder when I'll stop making them. Or is this a lifelong thing? Do we all just wander through life fucking up and trying to put ourselves back together only to continue again? Are we the accumulation of our mistakes? A part of me regrettably thinks so. My failures have defined me more than my triumphs. But I don't want to live in that hopeless reality. Not anymore. I want to be accumulation of my failures. My success is all of the people I've ever met, the man I love, and the life I want. I want it to be defined by so many factors that are too complicated for any mathematician to piece apart. That would be the perfect life. Not good or bad, just complex. Why are you eating my bookmark?
Again, this is so freaking sad because so they're at the premiere and you see this in Kiss the Sky and you see what happens, and I remember reading it in Kiss the Sky what was shown, and Rose describing what happens to Lily when she sees what's being portrayed on the reality show. But the difference is that now you get to see the brain, the inside of Lo's perspective, and what Lo's thinking while he's watching Lily retreat into herself. I feel so fucking sick. Not because she failed herself. She didn't. But because she believes that she did. She knows that everyone will see this and think she's a head case. When she hasn't broken any rules. She didn't do anything wrong. But she still thinks that she did, and she's embarrassed because everyone's going to think, they're going to be able to think whatever they want about this, and they don't really know what's going on or how hard it actually is for a sex addict. And she's also she gets embarrassed very easily, and she's also very introverted, and she's quiet, and she has a dirty mind, but she's always embarrassed about having that dirty mind. She doesn't embrace it like some people do. Like, I embrace my dirty mind, but she does not. She thinks that it's wrong, and I get it because she is a sex addict. Again, y'all, we are seeing Reich and Lo's perspective of their relationship, and I remember reading what Reich was thinking in his book in Hot House Flower. Now, mind you, this is 6 months after the fact from Hot House Flower than it is here, but Lo is thinking, no, he says forcefully, I'm not leaving you. His weighted words hit me hard. He stares at me like they mean more than just a single moment. I've been abandoned by family before. A birth mother who didn't want to acknowledge me as a kid or an adult, by his mother, someone I believed was mine for too long. It'd been easy for him to just leave at any second. I'm not the nicest person to be around. I have given up on me within a few minutes, but Reich is still here. This guy, he's too good for me. I don't deserve someone like that in my life. The way that both of them think so similar of each other, and how Reich is trying to prove himself to him, but he's so conflicted because he wants to be there for Daisy, because he's the only person that realizes that Daisy's basically on the outskirt of their core 6. Even though they're core 6, she's like the last one in, and it's because of her age, yes, but I think her sisters are trying to coddle her for everything when they really shouldn't be, and she feels left out, and Reich is the only person there because he's the only one left, because the other two girls cling to their relationship, to their man, instead of their sister. So Daisy's left out in the cold, and I know exactly how that feels. So, perspective of how he sees his brother, it kind of puts all the puzzle pieces together, and I love that we get to see that. So I love that Thrive is in their perspective, because now you get all 6 of what they were thinking at this point in time. Oh my god, I completely forgot about this. It's during the premiere, because in Kiss the Sky, Connor believes that he can't love anything because of how he was raised and what his mother taught him and everything, so he thought that love was just a irrelevant piece. He had nothing to do with it. And I remember because Reich and Lo look at him, and Lo loses a bunch of trust in him because of that, because he doesn't love Rose, and he's so pissed, and he's about to blow up on him. And this is because prior you only got Connor's perspective about it, and thinking that he truly adores Rose. And we already know that what he had said in the moment when all this came out was cut by production and was actually stolen by the guy that they hate and used as his words instead of Connor's. But in prior, you got to hear Connor and know exactly how he's feeling. And although we all know as readers that he actually does love her, he just couldn't admit it. But obviously, as them, the fictional characters in the book, don't know this. They don't realize this. And now we're about to see and hear what Lo is thinking in this moment instead of what Connor was thinking. Like, we get to feel his pain, even though Connor would think, oh yeah, he must feel this way, he must feel that way, but now we actually get to know what he was feeling and what he was thinking. So you've never loved anyone in question? Not another girlfriend, your mom, your dad, or a friend? I don't want our relationship to be a game. I knew in the beginning that he was just collecting me like he did everyone else. He was upfront about it, which was why I liked him. I had money and connections, so that's why he befriended me. But I thought we'd grown beyond that, hadn't we? No, he says, I've never loved anyone. Lo, I'm sorry. And this is where Lo absolutely loses his fucking mind. Oh my God, and I wasn't expecting this. Oh my God, I wasn't expecting this at all. Because Connor went through the motions, like in his book, you saw in his head how distraught and how upset he was that Lo was thinking of him like this, and he had no idea how Lo really felt about him. And Lo literally in a split second, so fast, the fastest he's ever done, even with Reich, I think it was faster than Reich. I mean, we'll see, we'll get there. Keep his blue eyes locked on Rose with more and more concern. He is in love with her. For once in his life, Connor is blind. When he meets my gaze, I say, I just want you to know that I lost my respect for you tonight, and you're not going to get it back so fucking easily. I don't want to play his games. I'm not an investor in that he needs to slip in his back pocket. I'm his friend. I just want him to be real with me. Sure, he says softly. I understand. His gaze drifts to the carpet in deep thought, a faraway look that I don't often see from him. My stomach is in knots. I already want to forgive him, to say, don't worry about it. He has a power over me. It's insane, and I realize how much I love the guy. That's the funny thing, right? He'll probably never love me. Oh my God, that was so fast. The way, like, he was so intuitive, and he was able to see it right then and there. Like, it clicked. He was like, he's blind. He doesn't, like, he's lying to himself, basically. And he knew it in an instant, right after that happened. That is something I did not expect. Oh my God, I can't with Lily. I just, burns in my belly. I wish I was a T-Rex. I'd eat him. In a non-sexual way, just to be clear. My neck heats. Thoughts that she has, like her inner thoughts, are, I find, hilarious. I nod, this is good. The spot between my legs pulses. Shut up, vagina. Now I'm speaking to my vagina. Great. Again, her thoughts. And in this, Lily is, again, being very intuitive to how Reich and Daisy's relationship is going to turn out, and she's worried at this point, you know, because we're still early in the beginning, that he's going to be a one-night stand for her, and that's it, that he's not going to want her for anything more than that. And she's worried for her sister in that sense, because he can tell that he's physically attracted to her. She loves to tease him. Also, so freaking cool to see how the writers have written Lily and Lo, because although they are not my favorite couple, this entire series is basically based on them. Like, even though the Calloway sister series is the other two sister stories and their perspectives and their boyfriends' perspectives, it's still all about Lily and Lo. It's still their story. So to see how they write Lily and Lo to be in the middle of everything, so this book fits perfectly into the other two books, because although those two books were about the other four couples, and you see their perspectives, in this one, you see how Lily and Lo perceive everything, and how they're looking at it, and what they're taking away from it, and you can see how accurate or how not accurate it is, which mostly it's accurate, to what the other books were when you read them. And it's really, really cool, and like, I love it so much. It's so hard to explain. It's just how it's written. It's just written very, very freaking well. How they wrote those two books in this series, it fits like perfect puzzle pieces. This time Reich speaks. Just run, Calloway, he tells her as she walks past. She almost falters, nearly stopping dead in her tracks. I swear it was like Reich chiseled at something deep in her core, something hurting her. I can't make sense of it, and the fact that he can, everything just becomes more complicated. It's that intuition right there, and it's leading to something more. I haven't talked about Reich and Lo's father in a good minute. This piece of advice that Lo's father is giving him, I actually highly agree with. Don't let any motherfucker come into your life and destroy what belongs to you. Not your women, not your home, not your money, or your career. You protect all of that. You hear me? He sits firm hand on my shoulder. He may offer backward advice for me, but he has always been there. That statement, I believe, is very true. They're in a situation where their lives are being put out for everyone to see. There's no privacy, and it can be destroyed if he lets it. If he gives into his anger and gives into his addiction and does not stay strong, because he knows that the outcome of this, they're hoping, is going to be a good one. So that advice right there is something that I really think that he needed to hear in this situation. I understand that this advice can be taken in the wrong context, because yes, you need to stand up for that and you need to protect everything that's yours, but you have to do it in a way that's not going to destroy everything. Like, he can't attack the producer. He can't attack this guy, even though we know how damaging and how horrible he is. They just have to figure out a way to do it that won't hurt him or hurt anyone else in the situation, and that's hard and may seem improbable, but once they figure it out, because Lo right now is so scared that he's gonna disappoint people, and he's gonna have to do something that he said that he never would do again, and that sucks. I find this to be a very, very big step for Lily, and something that I'm very proud of, something that's nostalgic, and something that kind of brings it full circle almost. So at the beginning of this series, where Lily, before she gets help with her addiction and she's still embracing it, she goes to Rose's fashion shows, but she winds up not making it through, and her and Lo go outside and have sex in a vehicle instead of watching Rose's. But in this next fashion show, after she's gone to therapy, she's in recovery, she is combating her addiction, and she's having all these compulsive thoughts because her anxiety is at its high peak, because they are in the spotlight, because they have so much on them, from fans to reporters to even being on the reality show and having the camera crew following them around. She has all this anxiety surrounding everything that's happening. So, and then having to sit during the fashion show, and the last time she didn't make it through, and she is fighting and combating all of her compulsions and her thoughts of wanting to have sex, and she's making it through, and it just makes me so proud and reminds me of where she was and then where she is now, and it makes my heart just expand so much for her, and I am so proud of her. And okay, I love this, because I was just talking about how they were trying to remove all of the boundaries that they had set, that people had set for them in their relationship to combat her sex addiction. And now this is happening. I never thought he'd gain enough confidence in himself, enough trust in me, and enough hope in our relationship to let all these hesitations go, to make love to me so unrestrained that every movement is an impulse and nothing takes a second thought. I love that this is happening for them, and I hope that it stays this way. Lo did. He figured out a way to take revenge on Scott, but without doing it the way that he typically would, and I am proud of him for that, because what he did were they were significant things that made Scott's life still harder, but it didn't ruin it, which is what he would normally do. And these are things that were not said in Kiss the Sky. I mean, they were alluded to, but they weren't really discussed. It wasn't brought up in a manner like this. So this interaction that Scott and Lo just had, didn't get to see in the other books. So it's nice to be able to see that and know that Lo is not taking his shit, but he's still doing it in a way that's not going to make him backtrack. And Lily has all of my love right now. Like, the confidence that she just did this for her man, like, it makes my heart smile. Okay. Fell into his pocket, and then he shoves the bagged bottle into my chest. Cheers. He backs up, waiting for me to unwrap the paper bag. I don't have to. I've opened enough markers marked to recognize the red waxy seal on the neck. He handed me bourbon whiskey. He wants me to drink. It break my sobriety. It's not going to. Lily darts beside me with a high-pitched scream, steals the bottle out of my hands, and chucks it at Scott. The bottle, still in the bag, makes a loud impact on the wall beside his head. He jumps back in surprise, the glass shattering and whiskey dripping on the wallpaper. I'm so stunned that I can hardly move. Did Lily just... Yeah, she did. Don't you dare give him alcohol like it's nothing, Lily says. Scott grinds his teeth and flashes a pained smile, his lips twitching, then he slams the door on his way out. It takes a moment to speak. Lily Calloway, I say, shocked beyond belief. I turn my head toward her. Did you just offend me by throwing perfectly good booze at a douchebag's head? Yes, she says with a nod, and then tilts her chin up for further effect. He can't screw with your addiction. He's not. I draw to her body. Lily shakes her head, more worked up than me. He's like Draco Malfoy, she says, resting her hands on my arms. Slimy and evil and a complete narcissistic buffoon. Plus, he has blonde hair, I add. She catches the humor in my eyes. It's not funny. The whole thing is not funny. Lil, I cup her cheeks between my hands. No one is going to mess with us or make our lives harder just for shits and giggles, okay? After a short moment, she nods in agreement. God, and the secrets that are in this book, there's so many secrets. Lo stopped doing something, and no one knows that he did. And now that the subject got brought up, he's saying, I'm not going to tell her now, maybe I'll tell her then, maybe I'll tell her after the show, blah, blah, like spiraling, going on and on and on. Just using excuses to not say it. And when your mind does that, it means that you feel guilty for something, and maybe you should be doing, or in his case, taking this, but he's not, and he's hiding it. I think the difference between him hiding this from Lily and everybody, and then Lily and Lo hiding the fact that they are no longer following the blacklist, is different because they're doing it for different reasons, and they don't have the excuses bubble surrounding their sex life in their relationship, but he has the excuses bubble with him, with this lie, basically. It's scary. And I think that's also alluding to a relapse that we know he has in Hot House Flower. And another thing that I love so much about this book is that it's covering everything, all of the bases. Now, the other books were just focusing on this specific task, or this specific event, or this specific reason, or this drama, or whatever. But this book is covering everything. It's covering everything that was in those other books. Rose and Connor's relationship, Reich and Daisy's relationship, and all the issues that come with it, plus Lily and Lo's, everything full circle. And you get, after reading this book, you get the entire picture from the beginning until the end of Hot House Flower. This is fitting together so perfectly, and that is so freaking satisfying. He's so scared to lose you, and you don't see it because Connor won't let you. I put him on a pedestal above everyone, above my own brother. I thought there was no fucking way Connor Cobalt would hurt me. He was designed to be there for all of us. He made me feel worthy of love, even if he never truly loved me. Our friendship feels like a lie, I tell her. It's not, she says. I've known him since I was 14, Lauren. I've seen his superficial friendships and the one he creates to further himself in life. You're not one of those. He's more himself with you than he usually is. You have to believe that. Two things. The relationship that Rose and Lauren have, these conversations that they have, ultimately make them closer, and it makes their core six even closer, because although these two bicker and fight so much like real brother and sister, and to a new extreme, but they are able to come together in these conversations like this, and they come together because they truly love and care about the people that surround them. So I think that's what brings them together the most, and I love to see that, them two actually getting close. And two, even though I believe that Lo realizes that Connor can love and does love, he just is basically lying to himself. He's so intelligent that he's just not facing it, and he's too scared to face it. And he sees that, but he still feels extremely hurt by what Connor said, and that Connor can't admit anything and tell the truth, basically. And he's hurt by that, and nervous that their friendship wasn't what he thought it was. And Rose is telling him that it is, and that you have to trust that, and with time, like, things will be easier. Okay, so I remember this scene so vividly. So in Kiss the Sky, there was things edited into the show that were not real, kept telling them that it's not true, and no one knew whether or not to believe them. And because you didn't have their perspective, you really didn't know what happened as a reader, so you just had to take it at face value of what the other perspectives of the people in that book were. And now we have Lily and Lo's perspective, so we know exactly what actually happened in that moment, And although they're not following the blacklist, and although this is on the blacklist, this one point where they would have gotten caught, they really didn't do anything. And they have nothing. They did not lie about this. And I am very proud about this, because if this would have happened, it would have been giving into Lily's addiction and into her impulses and into her anxiety so well. With this, with their addictions and with their recovery, they're not giving into it, but they're still not having to stick to those boundaries, because Lo knows when to say no and she knows when to back off. Loved it. This is freaking hilarious. Shifts, and I notice a red bite mark on her shoulder. Oh my god, I swear. What? She straightens up quickly in alarm. What is it? He bites you? I whisper, my surprise filling my face. She immediately presses her hand to my mouth, silencing me. I never pegged Connor to be rough. I thought he was a sweet, gentle type, like a friendly giant. You are so wrong, Lily. So off base. I absolutely am infuriated and hate the producer of this show. He has no dignity. He is a horrible human being who's messing with their lives and their addictions, and it's not something that he should do whatsoever. But I am so proud of Lily and Lo and how they are handling this. And then later, Lily and I caught Ben leaving actual porn in our room. We didn't tell anyone. Lily threw the magazine in the trash on her own accord, overcoming a huge hurdle. And although Scott tried to make her relapse, we both considered the trip a success. We skied down the slopes. We laughed. We felt normal even under the hot gaze of the camera lens. Yes, you guys are freaking amazing. Uh-oh. Lily, Lo, can you come up here for a minute? We need to talk to you both. And here it is. It's the confrontation about everything that was planted, and the conversation that they had in Kiss the Sky, like the huge fight that they had, and them everyone accusing Lily and Lo of backtracking, of him drinking again, and of her and the sex addiction. You get to see the agony that Lauren is in during this entire conversation, because before you didn't realize or understand why he was answering and acting the way he was. You would just had to guess or go off of what the perspective was, but not his own. And in this one, he's doing it because he feels so guilty, even though he knows he did not backtrack and he did not drink. He feels guilty because he stopped taking medication that everyone thinks that he's taking, including Lily, and he's been lying about it. So he feels guilty, and he's turning to his old ways down with his words, and internally he's telling them, give up on me, like I want this pain to end. And he keeps going and he keeps going, and it's an impulse that I can understand, and it being described this way makes me understand it more, and it makes me feel for it, and it makes me relate to it on a certain level, because I have certain impulses that I want to. It's so hard to explain, but if you are impulsive about something, then you know exactly what this feeling is. Like, you want to stop, but you can't stop. And that's what's happening right now. Finally admits it, but he admits it not because everyone's accusing him. He admits it because of the look that's on Lily's face, because he sees that she's breaking down and doesn't know if she believes him or not, and it's breaking his heart. I turn back to Lily. You have to believe me. I don't know what I'll do if she doesn't believe me. I can't handle this. I do, she says without any doubt. Thank you, Lily, because that man is so in love with you. That man would literally go into a hole, shrivel, and die if you said that you didn't believe him. The new Lily, the confidence that she has, it's everything. She's grown, and she's growing so much. I exhale deeply and walk to the bed. I reach in for a hug. Then she pushes me in the chest and points a finger at me. But it's not okay. It's not. I should have told her. Her chin trembles and she pulls her shoulders back with more confidence. I love her for it. You can't stop taking them just because it drives you nuts. And it's not okay that you kept this from me, from us. Her tears match mine. I know, I tell her in a whisper. I'm sorry. I sit next to her and she scoots closer to me. Then our arms sort of meet with each other at the same time. I don't want to let her go. We're in a fight, just so you know, she whispers. I'll sleep in Daisy's bedroom. Pain contorts my face. You haven't had sex in 3 days. It's the truth. She's been cramming for an exam in May, and she falls asleep before you ever get that far. She's going to. I trail off as she shakes her head. I don't care about sex. I care about you being healthy and not drinking. I'm suddenly overwhelmed with pride for her, but also fear for me. I'm falling behind. I can feel myself regressing while she's barreling ahead. I have to get my shit together. Yep. I wish so badly they could just believe that I'm doing okay, but only Lo truly sees my progress. He's the one wrapped so closely with my sex addiction. The others just see glimpses here and there, and the bad times seem to stick out far more than the good. I didn't have sex, Rose, I tell her desperately, hoping she accepts the truth. I'm doing better. I mean, I should have asked Lo that question, but besides that, I'm doing better. I can go a day without sex, no crippling anxiety or fear attached. Sure, sometimes I cling on to Lo more than I should, but it's an everyday fight. I don't know how to show them what I feel, and I hate that. We're now where they accused, it's Lily's turn, they're accusing Lily of her addiction, and it sucks because she can't, no, they can't prove it. Either way, they couldn't prove it, and it's so sad, and like, this is just a moment that you have to trust the people that you care and that you love about, that they're doing the right thing. And they feel so weird because they are actually lying to them about not doing things that they shouldn't be doing as far as the blacklist that was given to them, but they're doing it in a healthier way, and they're keeping it from them because they don't want the dirty looks, they don't want the judgment, and they don't want the input because it's their life, it's their relationship, and yes, they're recovering addicts, but that's going to be that way their entire life, and they should have some privacy now. They shouldn't have people having input on their relationship for their entire life because they're addicts. That's not okay, and I know that life is not fair, but that's just unreasonable in my opinion, and that's where they're at. So it's just, they feel guilty, but at the same time, this is just something that they didn't do. And I find this so freaking wholesome because in Kiss the Sky, you don't get to see Rose and Lo make up from the blowout and the hurtful things that Lo said and how Rose kind of contorted into herself, and she's a very, very strong woman and not much gets to her, and Lo fights with his words and is extremely harsh, brutal, and the way that their relationship is and the way that their apology was, I think is so sweet, and I love to see how their relationship progresses and just how they are with each other. So I'm 9 months into the reality show, and it's getting really, really close to the wedding, and I really think that this is the part where Connor asks Lauren and Lily about, and it gives him the idea to switch everything around and turn that wedding into something completely different, and we get to see it because you don't get to see that in Kiss the Sky because yes, it was Connor's perspective as well as Rose's, but they obviously hid that because it was supposed to be a surprise for the ending of the book. But in this one, since it's not about Connor and Rose, it's about Lily and Lo, you get this scene. That's so freaking cool because you didn't get to see that in the other book, and now just every single little piece you get to see the entire puzzle, and that's really cool. He sat there and asked them how they felt about it and gave them an out, and the way he did it, it's so cool, and I love the fact that we finally get to see that we get to see this scene play out. Did Connor Caldwell become the Tooth Fairy granting wishes in the middle of the night? Tackling and pinning her to the bed. I plant kisses all over her face and she laughs into more tears. I realize I'm crying again too. We're starting to feel in control of our own lives. It comes with sentiment so strong that the only response is to laugh, cry, and finally fall into a peaceful, quiet sleep. So they finally get, like, they're not having to be forced to do something that they, like, it was the biggest and hardest thing for them to do because it's something that will actually change their lives. Yeah, there's forcing them to get married. It's just, honestly, I think could hurt their addictions more than anything because they don't want to. They love each other and they want to be with each other, and yes, they eventually want to get married, but on their own timeline. And Connor just gave them a way where they didn't have to do that, and he's the reason why it happened. And this is exactly what I've been talking about this entire time, how Daisy is left out a lot, and this is what Lily is about it. Before the reality show, she tagged along and asked to join us for the past 6 months. It's been unspoken that she's belonged in any event we planned. I don't want to go back to the way things were. I want Daisy to be with us, but at the same time, she's only 17. 6 months have been like one long extended summer camp, and probably the first time she's felt included in our group. Which I know that she's so young, like her age, but mentally she's not that young, and she hasn't been. And if they know that, but they're not
I don't know, they're not putting that in the forefront of their mind and, like, accepting it. They're still treating her like a child, and I get, like, they don't want her to grow up too fast, but it's already happened. There's no going back, so just embrace it and go with it. Literally said what I've been saying, that and even though she was with them for 6 months, even though she's been in their group, like, in with their events or whatever for the past 6 months, she's still not fully ingrained in them, and you know from Hot House Flower that her problems started in that house and got worse from being in that house. Paparazzi and being in the limelight and everything like that made her retort back into herself and not be honest with her sisters. Now, I'm sure that Daisy could have fixed some of the problems by opening up to her sisters as well, and that would have helped, you know, establish a better relationship with them at this point, but they never made Daisy feel comfortable enough to be able to do that, because she still feels like a child and an outsider in their group, and that sucks. And Lily somewhat gets that. That's what she's saying here. Bro, and this could just be my brain short-circuiting, but I didn't realize that Lily was the person who saw it first, and you get her reaction from her seeing what the horrific son of a bitch producer person is, how evil this man is, and doing something that he used a loophole in places that cameras should not have been, and which honestly I think they should have, although they let go of the lawsuit because they just didn't think it was worth it, and Rose and Connor spin it in a way that works for them, but I know for other people it wouldn't do that. But honestly, because they were being filmed in places that they said that they couldn't be filmed in, and they put cameras in there, so they could have, like, gotten in trouble for that. But anyway, we now get to see Lily's and Lo's reaction to what was released by the producer. Literally, I turned a page and I was like, oh shit, it's right here. She scares me more now than she ever has before. It's like she needs to explode, but she's containing this raging fire inside her body. And I completely understand that, because I've gotten to a point where I've gotten so angry, I just did not know how to handle it. Like, when you have such overwhelming emotion, you just kind of go completely numb. You don't know what to feel, you don't know how to feel, you don't know how to react, you don't know what to do. And that's exactly how Rose was in that moment. And Lily definitely saw that. And this is the blow-up scene that you already saw in Kiss the Sky, but obviously we didn't get to know what Lily and Lou were feeling, and they both were, like, really, really scared and nervous, and like, oh my god, here we go again, we can never catch a break. Hit to our relationship, another hit is being private, and the public's gonna see this and this and this. Scott goes ahead and tells everything, like, explains everything that happened, or what Lo's internal thoughts from it. How many bullets did we actually dodge this time around? I can't get off the couch to help them or shout another explanation. Reich has said them all anyway. I've known what everyone is just finding out. In fact, I've known for a while that production was behind all of this shit. I guess they couldn't 100% believe that truth because they had other options to consider, like us. Like Lily and I, we could have lied to them. Obviously, now everyone knows, like he said, 100% fact truth that they did not lie and that they were telling the truth. And although that good part came out of all of that bad, it still really sucks how that felt in the impending doom and fear that they were feeling in that moment. But then the overwhelming relief that came with it after that, it's nice to be able to get that perspective from this scene as well. And we actually get details of the wedding and the reception and everything that happens afterwards, because you don't get that in Kiss the Sky, because it ends and it does the bonus scenes and everything, but you don't get the details of the actual wedding. Happy about that, although it's not the bride and the groom's perspective. It is a bridesmaid that was supposed to be the bride's perspective. What the wedding looks like and how it was set up and what everything that Connor did to put it together. So that's really neat. Rose and Connor's song is Love Young Rose. I love that song. It is beautiful and magical and sweet and serene and just amazing, and it fits them as a couple so much. And getting Lily's perspective, and at this wedding, Lily's getting to see a deeper side. They're all really getting to see a deeper side of Rose and Connor's relationship, and a lot more intimate And because, you know, prior they, you know, didn't know how everything was going to work out, because Connor says that he can't believe in that, and they didn't know how their relationship was, and now they see it full force for what it is. And I think it is the sweetest thing ever, and I love that they are describing that in this book, that we get to now see how other people see their relationship outwardly, instead of just that one blow up where everyone was like, wait, what the fuck? Connor, you can't love? Why are you with her, Rose? Why are you letting him blah 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 blah? And now they're seeing that love her no matter what, and that's been that way for a long time. He just couldn't admit it, and it's amazing. And there's foreshadowing to Reich's actually knowing how to speak French, but no one knows that, and Lily has her suspicions about it because he knew what song it was, even though it's in French, although it is a very popular song. So I don't know how to speak French, but I still know what that song is. But apparently it's the way his accent was, like how he said the title, which made her like have a little bit of a little inkling that there's something more fishy going on here. So I think that's a foreshadowing to that. And Lily is a lot more intuitive than very confident, and she's very shy, so I'm sure that a lot of predictions that she has or that she thinks on her own are wrong, when in actuality they're spot on. And I've seen that a lot throughout the series. And now we see the part where Lily is realizing that, and she still feels sad about the situation that happened with Rose, but the thought was just put into her mind that the difference between the two of what happened to them. I'm like that. I never thought that she'd be praised and I'd still be condemned. It's not fair. If I had been committed to Lauren Hale all my life, would people love me more? Probably. I find it very sad, and this is a thought that crosses Rose's mind as well in her book, but now we get to see where that thought came from in Lily's head, where it originated from, and not just a reaction that Rose had off of a situation that Lily was having, or just Rose's inner thoughts in general. I'm ashamed of myself and embarrassed. I just feel gross. The world is never going to understand us, he tells me, his eyes so impassionate that I can't look away. But it doesn't matter, Lil. We have each other, and I get your pain. I understand how badly it hurts, so I need you to block out other people today, okay? They don't exist in our world. Our world? There's no going back to a life with just Lauren Hale. Even though it's harder to have real friends, real connections with other people, it's the right thing. But it's what causes so much agony inside. Every day in their presence, we stare at reflections of what we should be and know that we can never become them. I find that thought very, very sad and disheartening, because I hate the fact that Lily sees it that way. And I know that maybe one day she'll get to a place where she doesn't look at it that way, because addiction is something you deal with your entire life, and it's never going to go away. But you have to find that inner strength inside of you, and know who you are, and be okay with who you are. And until Lily gets there, she's still going to feel this way, and it sucks. And I also don't like it when people don't like me, but I know that not everyone is going to like me, and you're just going to have to accept that, just like Lily's going to have to accept that people aren't going to understand how their relationship is. They aren't going to understand her sex addiction. Unless they take the time to actually find out on their own, they're not, like, it's the connection's just not there. No one's gonna know them like they do, even not their family, not their friends. So it sucks and it's painful, but I really hope that someday she'll get to a place where it's no longer painful, and she won't look at her life like this anymore. I think that we're starting to get into, I mean, I'm over halfway through the book now, so we're definitely getting into the part where things start falling apart, and Lo's the one initiating it, maybe unintentionally, or they're trying to, like I said, they don't want to have any more boundaries on their relationship, and not have to use that blacklist that was given to them. And I think maybe they started doing more things that they used to do, and it's starting to get back to that point where it was. We've been fucking for a little over 4 hours with a few breaks in between, all to wear Lily down to the point of mental and physical exhaustion. Giving her sleeping pills would have been easier, but her therapist was worried she'd start being dependent on them. I doubt she would have approved of this alternative, but it's just one night of insane sex. I won't let Lily get used to this and make it a new routine. That's what you say, but it is so easy to fall back into that. And although 4 hours of intense sex does sound very fun and something that I would love to do, for a sex addict, it can push them over the edge and be too much. And I get not wanting to have restraints on their relationship and for them to be able to do pretty much anything. I understand that, and I want that, and I want to believe that, but honestly, I don't think you can, at least to not that extent. I think that this is a step toward a downward spiral, and I don't know if they realize that or not. So we're now in the part where basically Sky has ended and Hot House Flower has not began yet. So we're in that in-between stage, but between the two books, and we're having a conversation with Lo and Connor in the kitchen about Lily and Rose's relationship at the moment, because it doesn't mention this part in Hot House Flower. We just get tiny bits and pieces of it at the end of Kiss the Sky, where Lily and Rose are kind of awkward, feel weird with each other because of the two situations that they're going through are eerily similar, but they have two very different outcomes. And I'm just going to read this because it's the easiest way to say it. Commended Rose for being monogamous, strong, and open enough to defend her right to be submissive in bed. The polar opposite happened to Lily. She was degraded, humiliated, and dragged through the mud. Still is, every fucking day. She can't sleep and forgets to eat sometimes. A girlfriend sinks under the weight of the world's hypocrisy. She bears this immeasurable guilt that no one understands. No one but me. Deep down, she wishes that Rose had the same outcome as her, so at least she could feel less singled out, less repulsed by herself, less like a spot in the world that should have been wiped clean. And she can't destroy those feelings or try to explain them because they seem completely fucked up. But I know what it's like to have emotions at war within you, to want something so cold and callous only to feel a shred of self-worth. Lily's feeling right now is what Lo feels all the time, every day. It's something that he can relate to very well, and it's something that's another level of intimacy that they are now uncovering. The situation is very, very sad, and I wish it didn't have to happen this way. And I know that in the end, Lily and Rose figure it out. They just don't know how to yet. That struggle. So this is something that we get in this book that we did not get in the other one. And we get more about the lawsuit in here. It's before they drop it, but it's close to it. We don't really get any insight to the details of why they dropped it, other than just an explanation in Hot House Flower, but this is an actual conversation that Lo and Connor have about it. It's complicated. The videos are already online. Winning the lawsuit won't win us back our privacy. It may destroy Scott, but it doesn't gain me anything. I've never had to use so much energy on an outcome that has no direct benefit for me. I frowned. The benefit is watching that douchebag burn, and I highly agree. But Connor has something else to say about it. Revenge isn't a benefit, Lo. It's self-gratification. An emotional response with very little logic and even less reward. Which also is very true. And which is why they ultimately decided to drop the lawsuit. Because Connor and Rose are just that couple. I find it so rewarding and amazing, and I'm even a little bit jealous at the fact that they can turn something so horrible that happened around to their benefit, and that they'll probably be able to do that to almost any situation. And that kind of strength, sometimes I wish I had, and I know that a lot of people do as well. And yay, we get to see Rose and Lily make up. That's been going on in the media, and Rose praise and candor for her situation, and then Lily feeling guilty and completely angry over the fact that she's just been beaten down pretty much for a very similar situation. She says forcefully, the media shouldn't have shamed you to begin with, and since they did, they shouldn't have treated me any differently. If our roles were reversed, I'd be so fucking furious that I have stormed 20 news outlets by now and wrung their necks. She flips her hair off her shoulder. I'm not going to lie to you. I called 7 of them to bitch, and the only reason I stopped was because Connor told me that I was going to make the headlines worse. She takes a strained breath. It's not right, and you know, I wish more than anything that you were treated like me and I was treated like you. It's so sweet. But mostly I love that being tangled together in the backseat of a car is no longer wrong. It won't turn me into a compulsive monster anymore. It's a level of control that I never thought I'd reach. Yet here it is. I'm starting to feel normal, or at least our kind of normal. So I think it's somewhat happening here for her, at least in this moment. Oh no. I'm just a tad bit. I'm very excited. They're saying this and that they are in a good place and that they are so in love and They're so freaking happy right now. But I'm so nervous and I can't let myself wholeheartedly jump into being happy for them because I know what happens next. Can you believe I've been sober for this long? Yes, I say definitively. We're doing well, aren't we? He asks. He motions between the two of us. It's working. He's been so confident about our routine, sex almost 3 times a day, and wherever we like, that it's a surprise hearing him question it now. I think so, I say. It feels right. Not every time is easy. Sometimes I'm a little compulsive and grabby, but I don't think either of us expected to be good 24/7 for the rest of our lives. There will always be bad days, but it's how we live those bad days that counts. He says, can you believe you've learned how to control most of your compulsions? He rests his arms on my shoulders like we're about to dance. It still feels like a dream, I whisper. It's real to me, he says. It took you years. It wasn't an overnight thing, Lil. His gaze falls to my lips, and after a long moment, he breaks the quiet. I want to marry you. The words rock me back a little. He holds tighter. Soon, he continues on. In the next year, maybe? His eyes rush mine, searching for confirmation. No, next year, I smile and slap his arm in excitement. He's grinning, his sharp jawline and cheekbones just plain glorious. Whatever you want. He leans down, kissing me with the Christmas lights shimmering overhead. With the snow falling, it's a picture-perfect moment. I wish I could snapshot it and save it for later, maybe because I have a feeling. One that hits me as he hugs me to his chest. We've never let ourselves be excited about something further down the road. 2 addicts constructing a future together, whether I think of it like that, begins to sound like make-believe, too rooted in fantasy to ever come true. And with that, we've ended part 2 and are about to move on to part 3. Even Lily is making it hard for herself to feel completely happy in this moment because she's so scared of what's going to happen next. She doesn't trust that everything's going to work out and everything's be okay. We hope that this right here that just happened and was said in this chapter is going to change at the end of that book, and that she's not saying that fantasy and that it's never going to come true. I hope that she believes at the end of their book that it's all real. And with that being said, I will see you all in part 3.